We love you.
Oh, yes, we do.
The moment you came in, we knew that she would like him.
Oh my God.
We saw when she was like, he's really my type. He's
Coming to love.
Meet the Family was amazing. It really was. I really enjoyed it because you got to see the dynamics of family members. I hated the party pooper moment whereby you have Ayo's brother talking about the fact that Mimi was a better partner for him. And it's like, this is not necessary. We don't need to hear about this. You can reserve these comments and discuss them at home once your brother comes home if you have nothing else to say. And it was sad that he brought up about Jess being needy as well. I don't know what his brother was on. Anyway, there were two standout family moments or two standout family meetups for me, in my opinion. That was Kieran and Nicole. The fact that Kieran's mom was able to recognize that Kieran is at times a problem, and this is why she saw herself in Nicole and she saw the arguments that she normally has with Kieran, so she was able to recognize that, which is good because I think a lot of people have worried about that, myself included. And then Mimi and Josh. Mimi's family is in love. Wherever Mimi is, she'll have to catch up with them because they're in love. Auntie's already shopping for a hat and for an outfit. And the fact that Auntie wants to go to London with Mimi when Josh takes Mimi to London. Oh my God, I loved it. I really loved the meetups. Anyway, hey there. Thanks for stopping by. It's your girl Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. Click the like button. Turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos. And definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Love Island, Season 11, Episode 43. Now the fallout begins, because the grafties are finished. And I get where everybody's coming from, particularly in regards to the Mimi situation. I think everybody's looking at it from a standpoint of everybody that goes to the terrace is going to the terrace to make out. I understand that. But also at the same time, the last time Josh saw Mimi talking to Ayo, they were not even sitting next to one another, but they were just talking and laughing in the den. He nearly lost his mind because he didn't like the fact that she was laughing with him. The other time Mimi was chatting with Ayo in the kitchen, you had Kieran start asking, so what's going on? Are the two of you trying to, revive something? Or are the two of you trying to, restart something? And so I get why Mimi wanted away from everybody else. There's no way she would have gone in the villa that people would not have made assumptions. Had she gone to the fire pit, somebody would have seen her and would have been asking, what are they talking about? So I get where she's coming from. I know a lot of people don't agree with me. It's not like she was trying to make out with Ayo. She had cut things with Ayo before Josh walked in. Things were restarted with Ayo, or conversations were had with Ayo only because Ayo felt some type of way about seeing Mimi with Josh. Right. She says, I can only take what she's saying at face value and go by it because I am not Mimi. None of us are Mimi. We can only make assumptions. And if she is saying she wanted the privacy of talking to him away from prying eyes, away from people making assumptions, then I have to buy that. I'm sorry. Yes, I understand everybody feels some type of way about it. But also at the same time, I'm inclined to believe her because when Josh sits down with Ruben and Kieran and is asked, did you know about this conversation? He said, yes, he knew she wanted to speak to him. She knew they were going to have a conversation, but he didn't know the logistics of where they were going to have it. And so seeing her sort of on the terrace and how secretive they were being about it is what makes him feel some type of way. But he knew a conversation was going to take place. So why would Mimi tell him she was going to have a conversation with Ayo if she was planning on making out with him? Just common sense, just trying to make it make sense. Why tell, Josh that I need to go and speak with Ayo if she knows that her intentions with Ayo are to revive something? It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't. I would assume she would not have said anything to Josh. Instead, she would have just gone behind his back and then tried whatever she tried with Ayo. If it didn't work out, she would come back to Josh and pretend like nothing happened. But the fact that she spoke to Josh, she knew that Josh has oftentimes sort of sat both of them down and asked them, okay, so what's going on? Where are we? So he was bound to go and ask Ayo what happened. So that's what makes me believe that her intention was never to make out with Ayo, because she knew that Josh would eventually ask Ayo what happened during your conversation, and he would find out, because Ayo would have no choice but to tell him the truth, which he has always done about the situation, although he's hidden the fact that he still has feelings for Mimi. Anyway, you have Joey sitting with Sean and Ayo. And so it's like there's now a division amongst the boys. You can actually see it because Josh has his minion, which is Sean, and Sean is just a parrot. This is what Matilda and Mimi were talking about, that Matilda was saying, Sean, when they're together, they sort of reason things out, they agree and they move on. And then once Joey comes into the equation, Sean is now Joey's spokesman. And this was evident when they were saying, oh, Ayo, you're not in trouble, we're in trouble, oh, this, that, and that. And it's like, oh, please keep quiet. Joey sits down with Jesse with a Y. Jesse sadly has very poor communication skills. Jesse, in my opinion, is no different to Nicole. The only difference is she's able to hide it and pretend to be, this gentle and quiet person, whereas Nicole will just blurt out whatever she wants to say and will start screaming and shouting. Because that conversation didn't need to be that toxic. Yes, I get where she's coming from, that Joey is at fault for calling this whole thing a secret mission. If he was going to call it a secret mission, then he should have continued to explain what it is. And that was one of the things that Josh was upset about, that Joey, if you were going to out that Mimi sent you on a secret mission, you should have explained what the secret mission was, because you calling it a secret mission and not saying what happened made it bigger than it actually was. So it's very toxic and very messy at the moment in the villa. Jessie storms off. I'm surprised the girls didn't run after her, and it's like, why? Because they actually saw her and Joey fighting. And then Ruben tried to go and sort of have a conversation with Joey, and Joey's refusing and saying, I'm not in the mood for a conversation at the moment, this, that, and that. And it's like, this guy is trying to help you. He sees your relationship from a different point of view. Try and listen to what he's saying and see if it makes sense to you. If it doesn't, just keep it moving. If it does, take what matters, and amazing. So you have Sean approach the girls in the kitchen. In the kitchen, you have Matilda, Mimi, and Nicole. And so the girls are like, we are upset with you. We don't know whether we really are interested in seeing you at this point in time. And is why are you upset? And they were like, Mimi was, you're entitled to your opinion about people, but if you have an opinion about something, call the person aside and have a conversation. There's no need for you to be airing people out in front of everybody else. And he gives an excuse. Well, I don't have an opinion. I was just saying, because that's where we're expected to give opinions. And so what happened then is Kieran then walked up. And one thing I like is, irregardless of what's going on between him and Mimi, Josh is always stays ready, because he moved from the den and he came closer to the kitchen. I think he was waiting to hear Sean say anything or do anything that would upset Mimi, and he would be ready to go. He would be ready. He would take his anger, put it aside, and deal with this boy before anything else. So Kieran stepped up and said, yes, you're entitled to your opinion, but the thing is, if you are going to give an opinion, be prepared that other people else are also going to give opinions. You can't, throw out your opinions to people and then expect everybody else to just sit there and take it. If you're going to offend people, people are going to have opinions. They're going to say how they feel, and you should be willing to take it the same way you expect those people to take whatever you have to say. And so I don't get why Sean thinks he's the man. I don't get why he thinks he's the man. We all remember simpler times when Sean struggled to find a connection with anyone in the villa, when the girls used him as their get out of free jail card with their partners. And so for him, suddenly now he thinks he's the big man on campus. I don't get it. Anyway, you have Mimi and Josh sit down for a chat. One thing about Josh is he stays ready. He's always on ready to go. He's 0 to 100 in 5 seconds. And the moment he sits down with Mimi, he goes back from 100 to 5. And it's shocking, because I like that he vented to the boys. So he vented to Kieran and to Ruben. And then when he came to sit down with Mimi, he had a decent conversation with her and told her, I understand and knew that you were going to speak to Ayo, but I didn't like what I saw on camera, because at the end of the day, I don't understand why you needed to sort of be sneaky or to be secretive about it. And she gave her rationale for, people would have had opinions had they seen me having a conversation with him, which she's entitled to think. Everybody has an opinion about something. And so they were able to address it. They were able to have a conversation. And he keeps telling her that, I wish we could improve on our communication. I wish we could, improve on our communication. That way I don't, have to keep rehashing the same situation 200 times. And sadly, the only way they can learn, or only way they can improve on their communication, is through talking. And in talking, they have to talk about something that's happened. And so this is the issue that's happened at the moment. They have addressed it. I hope they are able to move on from this, because Mimi seems like, although she's an overthinker, she seems like a self-reflective person. And I hope in her self-reflection, she's able to understand where Josh is coming from, and she's able to sort of, improve on it. I like that she took responsibility. She apologized. I feel like there was a lot more said between the apology and the you need to pray before we go to sleep, because I feel like the producers, there are certain things that they're taking out because they don't want the public to actually know how Mimi truly feels about this guy. They want us all to always be thinking, is she willing or is she ready to go back to Ayo? So whether she's declaring her feelings that she's over and done with Ayo and she's really falling for this guy, we will never know until maybe the finale or until the reunion. You have all the islanders, get ready for bed. So the islanders go to sleep and everybody's making out except for Joey and Sean, because their partners are upset with them, so they're not willing to do anything with them. They don't talk to them in bed, and it's like, oh, poor thing. In the morning, you have Sean sort of make a drink for Matilda. He's trying to grovel. And Matilda's venting to the girls that I am still upset with Sean because I didn't like what he did. It's unacceptable. I sit down, have a conversation with him. We agree on something. And then the moment he's around Joey, he's a totally different beast. Jesse with a Y is upset as well. So when Sean brings the coffee, he comes with Ruben. And Ruben actually gives Matilda a hug because she's still very upset. Well, you have Sean and Joey sit by the fire pit and they're sort of trying to hype each other up and tell each other, oh, me, I always tell the truth. People here don't like someone who tells the truth. They're using the same manual, same textbook as Jess, the one that went home, OG Jess. And it doesn't make sense to me. Yes, there's giving an opinion, but then there's this being disrespectful. And there's being derogatory. And the two of them are sort of bordering. Joey Essex, not as much, but Sean is very disrespectful and very derogatory, especially when it comes to people like Mimi. So the audacity for Sean to go and apologize to Kieran first, or to have a conversation with Kieran first before he apologizes to Mimi or Josh, doesn't make sense to me, because they are the two people he offended the most the night before, or during the grafties. They are the two people he offended the most, and they are the two people he should have apologized to before he sat down with anybody else. Yeah, Kieran I think was tired of trying to explain himself, so he just agreed to disagree, and then he encouraged him, go and speak to Matilda, because Matilda is saying she's not speaking to him, and it's just like, this is messy. I think her patience, her acting skills are fed up. She can't be dealing with any more of this. She's tried her best to pretend to like this idiot, but that's it. I don't remember how they've gone about Meet the Parents before. Oh my God, I watch too much TV. At times it all sort of jumbles into one. But this was cute because people were still upset from, the grafties. So to have Sean and Joey be feeding each other's egos by the fire pit and waiting for the girls to come and pull them for the chat. And it's like, you're the ones who have upset them. You need to apologize. So suddenly on the terrace, you have Sean's mom and sister, and you have Matilda's sisters, which was really good because they came in and they were able to actually have a conversation. And I don't get it. I don't get how Matilda's family can, with a straight face, say Sean is the best person for her. I don't think so. I think she missed out on her opportunity. I think she should have even coupled up with Jake, but the producers wanted Sean on the show, so this is why she came back single, because Sean is not it for her. It really is not it. He did speak to his mom and said, he feels like Matilda is upset with him. She hasn't spoken to him. It's a bit frosty. And I like that they told him that you need to stay out of other people's business and you need to focus on your coupling. And this is the reason why Matilda is upset, that he keeps focusing on other people and what's going on with them instead of focusing on his connection, forgetting that once they leave the villa, they live miles apart, so they might not be able to see one another for a long time. So I don't get it. It was cute to see their families come together and have conversations and talk about everybody. But I think the common theme amongst the whole family is the fact that Sean is minding other people's business instead of his own. He needs to mind the business that he's there for, and he needs to focus. Yes, he did ask about his sweet shop. I like the fact that his sister said, oh, one thing we forgot to discuss was, your chat, because your chat is really terrible. And it's like, oh, one thing about families, they're always going to tell you the truth regardless of whether you like it or not. So I like the fact that his sister was honest. It seems they prepped him for the show, but they didn't prep him for the chat, which is sad. They need to pay the girls, because the girls have taught him how to flirt and they've taught him how to kiss. So next up is Ruben and Grace's friends and family. So for Grace, it's her dad and her stepmom. And then for Ruben, it's his sister. And I think they said his friend or his brother, I think. It looks more like his friend. His sister is stunning. She does look stunning. And they all were saying, Ruben's sister was saying his mom is really enjoying watching him. She thinks he's doing amazing, because he was worried that his mom is shouting at the TV because she's upset with some of the things that he's done. But he really hasn't been naughty. He's been more sort of constructive, and he's been more, the live wire of the villa. So he's been putting more life into the villa, because I think everybody else is now used to it, and it's becoming sort of routine. So that was good to see. Grace's dad, he really loves his daughter. He kept hugging his daughter and holding his daughter's hand. Joey loves the attention. He really loves the attention, because why was he walking across the courtyard? So that, Grace's family could see him. I think he just wanted to show them that I'm here. And so her dad called him, and he's like, I just want you to know that with Grace and me, everything is over. And it's like, who asked you? Who asked you? Instead, you should be apologizing. Hi, sir, I'm sorry if I've done or said anything that might offend your daughter. I just want you to know that there's never been any hard feelings towards her. We tried our thing. It didn't work out. But he didn't. And then he has the audacity to run and say to the group, I've just been approved by Grace's family. And it's like, please keep quiet. Joey, this is not the time. This is not the place. Keep quiet. Grace's dad really loved Ruben. He really loved, even her stepmom really loved Ruben. So that was good, because they were all saying he's her type. And it's like, wow. And you had Ruben's family sort of acknowledge that when they walked into the villa, Grace wasn't really feeling Ruben. She really wasn't. And we all know she was feeling Josh more than she was feeling Ruben. So the idea that she's come round, amazing for her. I hope they do try and give it a go once they leave the villa. And it was cute to see their families sort of interact. That was sweet. So next up is Jess and Ayo. For Ayo, it's his brother and sister that come. For Jess, it's her mom and best friend. Ayo hadn't even recognized his family members until Jess started running towards them to see who it was. I thought it was really cute. I really liked it. I like the interaction, the fact that they were able to greet each other's families before they sort of parted ways, and then they came back together and sat down. Ayo's brother, I get where he's coming from, but sadly it's a bit too late. You can't tell someone who you like for them or whatever. I always believe that there are certain things that you can choose for somebody, and there are certain things you can't. You can't choose a job for someone, and you can't choose a life partner for someone, because those are things that they're going to live with for a very long time. So allow them to make their choice. I don't think the brother should have spoken about Mimi being a better suit for Ayo. I think he should have kept that comment until they were off camera, unless he was encouraged by the producers to say that, because that is now going to create a mess in Ayo's relationship and in his head, because he's going to be thinking that, so does my family not approve of my girl? He didn't need to bring Mimi in. And he then rounded up, but as long as you're happy with Jess, then I'm happy for you. And then for him to say about the fact that Jess needs reassurance in Jess's presence, the brother was just after his 5 minutes. That's all I'm going to say, because some of his comments were not really needed. They were not really needed. They didn't need to be on TV, but that's just me. I like that, you had Josh and Mimi stay right at the back of everyone. They were out of the way. Once the families left, they stayed way behind. They didn't sort of rush in front. They didn't want to be a part of that mess, which was good. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how they navigate it once Jess finds out what Ayo's brother was saying. It's going to be interesting to find out how they navigate that and how they overcome it. One of the comments that Jess's friend made that I found strange was the fact that she said to Ayo, if you had gone to the terrace, then that would have been the end of it. And it's like, we are all assuming that Mimi wanted Ayo to make out with her on the terrace. I don't get how people are missing out on the fact that Josh actually knew about this pending interaction. So why would she tell Josh that she was going to have a conversation with Ayo if her plan was to go out and make out with Ayo or to rekindle something? It doesn't make sense to me unless she and Josh were breaking up. I wish the producers had actually shown us the conversation before she decided to go and pull Ayo for a chat. This would have made a lot of sense, and this would have answered a lot of questions and put to bed a lot of allegations being made against Mimi. But anyway, I digress. And next up is Nicole and Kieran. So you have Nicole's mom and her brother, and Kieran's mom and dad. And oh my God, I really loved them. The fact that Kieran's dad was like, watching you and Nicole have a back and forth. It's like watching you and your mom have a back and forth. So it seems they are able to understand her character, because it seems she has the sort of same character traits as Kieran's mom. Kieran's mom is ecstatic. She's already wanting to plan a wedding, and it's like, oh my God, this is when you know that the family really likes someone, because they're already at the chapel. They're already buying flowers, dresses, and everything else. I like that Nicole's mom seems She seems very welcoming because she actually greeted all the girls as well before she went to sit down with Nicole. They all came in for a hug, which was cute to see. What do I think? I think they will work. I think because the family are able to understand who Nicole is and they're able to appreciate her, and the fact that Kieran's mom apparently possesses the same character traits as Nicole, they will get on like a house on fire. Poor Kieran, though, because now he'll have two people calling him out. That was cute. I really liked that. I thought they got on very well. I really didn't see much interaction between the families, but I actually think the families were very approving of their child's partner. So that was good to see. They left and everybody was excited for them, and it was cute. It was really cute to see. Now the moment I've been waiting for. I can't stop smiling. So with Ayo, his mom's sister and his cousin came, and I don't know whether he didn't want them to meet Mimi in the setting and actually wanted them to meet her, in a proper setting where they're all fully dressed and stuff. I don't know. But with Mimi, she had her mum and her aunt. Her aunt reminds me of my late aunt. She's the fun aunt. She's the fun aunt, and I love that. So they came in, and with Africans, they're going to be extra. We're going to be extra. They had to go and pick up, Jomi and take Jomi to the family meetup because we leave no man behind. So they had to bring Jomi to the meetup. And as soon as the mom, shouted, "Where's everyone?" Mimi could, recognize the mom's voice, and she ran. And then, Josh came out and he saw his aunt and his, cousin. They all sat down. And his aunt actually greeted Ayo. I think, she thought, hey, this is our relative, because they come from the same tribe, I think, with Josh in Nigeria. So they sat down, they spoke. We didn't hear much from Josh's family, but we heard Josh tell his family that, she's my type of person. She's the person that I want. She surpassed my expectations. And I remember saying this, that Josh had an idea of who Mimi was. And then when he came in, he saw that she is what it says on the label and more. And this is why he's been patient. This is why he's grafted her hard, irregardless of Grace throwing herself at him. He's continued to graft her until he won her over. Mimi's family, oh my God. Obviously they spoke about Casa with Mimi because she brought up the Casa situation, and then they spoke about Josh. They themselves are smitten. They themselves are at love before Mimi has got at love, because you had Mimi's aunt asking, so Josh is Prince Charming. He's come in. He's really changed your world. Should I get my hat ready, or should I start saving for my hat? And Mimi's like, what hat? And it's like, wedding hat. And it's like, there are those aunts that are always asking you, when are you getting married? When are you getting married? And I thought that was the end of it. So when Mimi came over, she actually came over. She didn't call across the courtyard. She actually came over and picked up Josh and his family. And it was so sweet how welcoming his aunt was, and the cousin as well. And they all sat down as a family, including Jomi. Jomi was part of the parents, meet the parents. And the conversation was good because Josh asked them, so how do you feel about what's been going on? And the mum and the aunt was the first one to say, we love you. It's like, oh my God, Mimi might not have told this man she loves him. You are already in love. What if she decides to untangle herself? How is she going to untangle herself when the whole tribe is in love with Josh? And then the mum and the aunt chimed in again, we love you. And they spoke, they gave him positive affirmations that make him feel validated in everything that is done for their daughter, that make him feel appreciated, and that makes him feel very good and very secure in his position in this relationship. Because it was totally different with the Ayo and Jess situation where they were talking about, Mimi was better. No, they just focused on this. Yes, they were not happy about what happened with Ayo, but they love the fact that she has Josh. They love how Josh has been standing beside her, and they have recognized that he's smitten, and they try to make her know that this guy is head over heels. He is smitten with you, and this is the guy we think you should be aiming for. They spoke about the qualities that he has because when he asked, what do you think? They said, oh, we love you. They had to repeat it twice so that he understood. And then they said, you possess the aunt, now fun aunt, you possess the character traits that we would look for in an in-law. And Josh and Mimi just looked at each other and they couldn't say anything because aunt is already excited. She's at wedding. They are still in the villa. she's already at wedding. She's already thinking of her outfit. She's already thinking of her hat. She's already thinking of her shoes. So they need to catch up. Anyway, I like that they asked Josh that, so what is next? Because we need to know that there's a future to this. Yes, you are in the villa, but your time in the villa is coming to an end. So what is next? And he said, it's for them to spend more time together. Well, they live an hour's drive away from one another, which will be good. So he said, he wants to show her London. And Auntie lifted her hand. What about me? And I need to be there as well. Don't forget me. And it was cute because he said, no, you can come along. They were very welcoming, and they sort of disarmed any anxieties that Josh might have about his connection with Mimi. I think it's now left to Mimi to sort of reassure this guy and let him know that I am all in. His family were very welcoming. And then they were saying, we were worried about Mimi for a long time, and we were just thinking, oh, let something happen. And then you happened. So when you walked in, we knew she's really going to like him. And then the cousin had to chime in, well, she said he's my type. And everyone was going, here's my type. And Mimi was so embarrassed because I think after the heartbreak with Ayo, Mimi has tried to sort of reserve herself and sort of not sort of invest herself fully because she didn't want to get her heart broken again. So for Josh to find out that Mimi has been saying positive things that he hasn't heard about, it's not just the negativity that he saw on the camera, but there's a lot of nice things that she said. She said he's her type. She said she appreciates him. That was cute to see. And then they had to greet every single person before they left. That was cute. And I swear I heard Josh say, I love you after the family left. I swear I had to rewind 2-3 times, but his mic was muted. So I don't know whether these people have already told each other they love each other, but because that doesn't fit the narrative of the story that the producers are telling, this is why they muted Josh's mic. I don't know. If you go back to the scene where the families leave, you actually hear him mumble something. It sounds like I love you. It could just be me.